Hello and welcome to this video coming out of the spiritual closet. So obviously if you are watching this video right now, then perhaps you are in a position where you don't feel safe to speak openly about the things that you are discovering on your journey of seeking the truth of who you are on this self-discovery journey where we have these impulses, right? These knowings that there's so much more to our being than we are led to believe by our parents, school system, the mainstream, religion. All of these things keep us disconnected from the truth of who we are. And often, just as I was during my 20s, I was on this deep journey of seeking the true self. I was so obsessed, I would say, with past lives. I was so curious about past lives. I knew I'd been here before, even though I didn't have a conscious recollection of it. Something inside me told me that I'd been here before, that there was so much more to us than we were being told. But during my 20s, I was too afraid to really just talk about those beliefs, talk about that journey that I was on, because it wasn't reflected back to me anywhere. So, unless you are somebody that grew up in a spiritually aware household, which isn't most of us, then you're going to be facing these belief systems. And even if you did grow up in a spiritual household, you could still be facing some of these fears and doubts about just being your true self and just opening up about who you are and the journey that you are on, because there is so much inversion within the spiritual community as well. And a lot of inversion, obviously, through religion. So, whilst I didn't grow up in a spiritual household, my mum was totally open to the fact that there was life after death. So, she was open in that way, which obviously gave me some safety. I wasn't in a strictly religious family where some people will have, which will really create even more disconnection to the true soul self. However, my mum and dad didn't really know anything about the true self, about the soul. Whilst they did start to feel things, they were cut off from this information as well. So in my 20s, I started to seek more about the true self, but I was still in the closet. No one was speaking about it. I didn't want to speak to anyone about it. I was scared. I was scared that people would laugh at me, ridicule me, say things like, well, you can't prove it, so it's not true. But all of these things are really these collective viruses that have been inserted into society to actually stop us from going on, to actually, so we feel like we daren't even go on this journey. And if we go on this journey, we better keep it to ourselves, because it's not a accepted belief system. And this is a spiritual initiation that we must go through as a spiritual seeker. It is a path that we go on to start to become more of our true authentic self. All spiritual initiations are going to involve a challenge for us, because it's in the challenge that we grow and expand. And it is why the soul is here. The soul is here to grow and expand, to grow through the limits of the programmed egoic mind. So, like I said before, during my 20s, I started really creeping out of the closet, let's say. I would say in my late 20s, I'd start to talk to some of my friends a little bit more about the stuff that I was reading, the journey that I was going on, my close friends that I trusted, that I knew wouldn't judge me. But I really kept that very quiet from anyone else, the people that I worked with. And it was really sort of as I got into my mid-30s, as I was going through more initiations through spirit, more crisis points, which made me go even deeper inside, that I really started to connect to that part of myself and started to dissolve some of the beliefs and programs that were blocking me from speaking my truth, blocking me from being my true authentic self. And because of the fears, like I said, I was scared that I was going to be humiliated, that people were going to laugh at me, and they were going to challenge me, confront me to prove it. Why did I feel that? Why do we feel like if we're curious, if we are seeking something new, if we are exploring something, why is it that we feel that someone's going to try and tear us down? Someone's going to try and make us prove it to them. And that is not something you can prove, right? Science, mainstream science has said no, but that is not the truth, right? Mainstream science has not proven that there is no soul, right? They just say they can't prove there is one, so it isn't so, but that's not true. And we don't need science to prove to ourselves something we are experiencing within our realities, because it is within our own energetic systems that we experience our soul, and we experience that the world is alive and communicating with us. But we've had all these subconscious beliefs that have been infected into the mainstream to make us fear being our true selves. And we also, which I have discovered on my own spiritual seeking and journey, coming out of the closet, which didn't happen all at once. I'm going to give you some practical steps to how you start to move yourself out of the closet, but it's good to understand and connect into the reasons why we have these fears, or to start asking, why do I fear? That exploring the true self is going to mean that someone's going to confront me. Where does that come from? So what I started to discover on this journey was that I also held deep wounds around persecution, vows of silence that went back to past lives. And many of us have experienced past lives, whether we're conscious of this or not. Most of us won't be conscious of these experiences, because if you imagine being in this life, right, and you are a soul that has had, you've been in many different bodies, on many different planets, on many different dimensions. Right now, your soul is in many different bodies, right? And all of your soul's energies does not go into one body. So right now, my soul, your soul, is in other bodies having other experiences, but we can tap into that as we start to clear out our energetic systems, which we start to do as we make a choice to come out of the spiritual closet. And we'll go into why that is in a minute. But I realized through that I started to have memory. Oh, so sorry, I digress. So the reason, so imagine right now, if all of those memories just flooded in at once, if you just remembered all of your past lives right now, everything that had happened to you, boom, it'd be quite overwhelming, and your body wouldn't be able to integrate that information, and it would cause potential like you to go absolutely insane in the mind, because you could not handle all of that. So it doesn't work like that. We have to make a choice to start our healing journey, to start coming out of the closet. To come out of the closet, we go on a healing journey, because we have to start facing all of the belief systems, all of the wounds that are actually blocking us, that are like a physical hand on our chest or over our mouth, stopping us from speaking what we feel inside, stopping us from exploring in freedom, stopping us from feeling like we're in an environment where we feel safe, where we can explore these parts of ourselves without being judged or ridiculed. So as we go on this journey, as we decide to come out of the spiritual closet, well, what we're saying is we're going on a healing journey. As we're going on a healing journey, we're starting to reconcile with the parts of us that are not really true self, the parts of us that are the illusions that have been created during childhood, and we start to heal them. And as we heal them, more of our soul light comes in, and we start to receive more information. So I came to know through a vision, through an experience, that I had some persecution wounds to past lives where I had spoken my truth, where I'd been the true self, connected to the light, connected to my healing abilities. And that got me branded as a witch and got me persecuted for it and humiliated for it. And that happened to so many of us on this planet. So many of us hold these persecution wounds, and we are afraid of speaking our truth because we've got subconscious wounds around what happened to us in the past when we did that. And we start to take things like vows of silence. We may have taken a vow of silence to actually even protect the knowledge that we had, because there's been times in our history where our true spiritual knowledge has been repressed, where the institutions have murdered them out of people through genocides. Lots of things like that have taken place. And many people that were initiates into these secret mystery schools that held this secret ancient wisdom of true enlightenment, of true connection, of understanding that the source is within us all, and we have to go inwards to connect to source, to start bringing our unique expression onto the planet. But we would have taken vows of protecting this knowledge when it got driven underground as well. So as we go through the healing journey, we can start to release these vows of silence. We can start to heal these persecution wounds. There's a collective denial out there around the soul. I ask you, if you watch TV right now, I don't really watch TV anymore just because of the awakening that I've had and because I know of all the programming, the negative program that is within our entertainment shows. However, if you are watching the TV, take note in your life today and see who mentions the soul. Where is the soul? Where is God? Where is source? The source of everything that is the source of our creation, nature. Where is its reverence, its importance, its sacredness? It is usually absent from reality in most instances because we are programmed to sever ourselves from it. So, as children, because we are programmed to be severed from our own soul, from divinity, from the truth of who we are, then we become confused. We start to become disembodied and we start to distrust the self. So, we grow up feeling that, our natural self is not good enough, it's bad, it's wrong, we can't trust it because no one else is validating it for us. So as adults, actually, we start to look outside of ourselves for somebody else to tell us how to think, how to feel, and to give us permission to do things and we have to start bringing that power back to the self and realize we have to connect to the self. We have to start connecting back to the self, trusting the self again. And again, as we choose to start coming out of the closet, then this is going to start a huge rapture of healing. So it's important for us to understand what really happens though. So, when we are not speaking our truth, when we are cutting ourselves off from who we are, the path that we're on, the things that we're finding out, the things we're discovering about ourselves, this spiritual side, this connection to source, to God, then what's happening is, and when I say God, I just want to put in here, this is not around religion. I'm not religious at all. I believe much of religion has been absolutely doctored to actually invert God, because God is a benevolent source. God is a source fabric that is the creator of the universe, the cosmos, of everything. All that source energy animates all of life, gives us life. We are all connected to that, and it is a benevolent force. It wants the best for you. It wants you to have a life of abundance, of joy. It doesn't want you to suffer. It doesn't have all these restrictions and boxes around the person that you are meant to be. It placed inside of each and everyone its own spark, its own unique spark, so that so that we could give it life upon the planet through each and every one of us, through our unique offering, through our signature energy. So it is a benevolent force, and many people are cut off from God because of religion. So our inner wounded children, the ego, the part of us that gets programmed from childhood, the ego, it starts to think as it's been its true self as a child. We are connected into our dreams. We are absolutely connected to source as children, but that gets severed as we are programmed to believe these things are not real or not truth. And this programming is heavy mind control. We are bombarded with it 24/7. We're bombarded with the programming at school. We're bombarded with the programming through TV. We're bombarded with the programming through our parents, not because our parents are wanting to harm us, but because they have been groomed to believe these things as well. And they're just passing on these beliefs. This is generational karma, generational trauma passed down, until you start to be that person that has the courage to start coming out of the closet. And if you are watching this, that is you. You are the one in your family that has signed up to a soul contract to do this work, to come out of the closet and to start that healing process, to clear out the ancestral lines. And I'm going to be doing more videos on that and how we actually come in and agree to pick up the ancestral trauma in order to do the work to clear it out of the lines. So we have these parts of ourselves. So if you right now are in the closet, and you're worried about coming out, it's because your inner child has been programmed to believe that it has to protect itself. It needs to hold in the true, authentic self, because the true, authentic self was not accepted as you were growing up, and often would be punished. Love would be withheld if you didn't fit into the societal norms where the soul was absent, or if the soul was there, if the spirit was there, because it was a religious family, it was inverted. It was a malevolent, vengeful God that you had to obey, and you had to obey in these certain ways, otherwise you were going to hell, right? So it wasn't safe to be yourself, so you had to shut it down. One way we can really look at this, we know religious programming was huge around being gay, right? Where it was saying that God said being gay was unnatural. That's an absolute lie. That is a lie. But that lie was programmed into so many people, the fear of God programmed into them, that they feared that if they felt that was them, often they would repress it from their own conscious minds in order to protect themselves. And often their parent that had all the fear on, if they had a child that they thought was gay, because let's face it, I'm going to be honest with you, I think most parents must be able to sense this about their children. If you are connected to your child, you're going to sense it about your child. However, due to a lot of fear, and you can tell me if I'm wrong here, because obviously, I don't have a child that is gay, so perhaps I'm wrong, but this is my intuition here, that most parents know this about their children, and actually, due to subconscious programming, due to fears through religious programming that they're going to go to hell, that it's not accepted in the world, they will often, not necessarily consciously, but do things and say things to really get the child to really just hide that, push it down, suppress it. Again, not often in a malicious way at all. It's usually these fears that something bad's going to happen to the child if they express it, and the parent is scared, worried of how to be able to deal with that. Most adults are wounded children. They are children that haven't gone through the healing process. So that inner child wants to protect itself, so it can even deny this from itself. But one day it's gonna be shown to the child, right? At some point in their life, they're gonna realize this is who they are, and that then they're gonna have to come out of the closet, and that's gonna be, so we can look at that side by side with coming out of the spiritual closet, coming out of the gay closet, coming out of the spiritual closet. They are the same thing, just different experiences. Both find it difficult to do due to the negative programming that makes you believe there's something inherently wrong with either of those things, but that is a lie. So we think something bad's going to happen to ourselves. We think we're going to be confronted. We're going to be attacked. That were all the thoughts that I had, right? Why would I have those thoughts in my 20s that someone's going to attack me just for being my true, authentic self? Some people may feel they're going to be exiled from the community and the family, and that might even be a reality for some people watching this video. Some families may, when you start to come out and be your true self, and stop and say, like, I don't resonate with, let's say, that religion or that those traditional ideas, whatever it is, it just goes against your values inside, and you stand up in your authenticity, then sometimes families do disown people, and that is a sad reality for some people. However, as adults, what actually happens when we deny the truth of who we are? Well, we are telling, oh, sorry, I've not mattering. I didn't mean to say it like that. Not matter, I meant to say, we're telling ourselves that we do not matter, right? As children, we've already created these wounds from not being able to be our true, authentic self due to external fears that have been implanted within our psyche. So we're already creating a belief inside ourselves that we don't matter. Our true self does not matter, that we are not important. Everyone else's priorities, everyone else's needs matter above our own. We do not matter. We are not important. Therefore, we are not lovable as we are. We must be somebody else in order to be loved. We must be someone else in order to fit in. Therefore, we hold no value as the true self. So we can see how, as children, we are learning that about ourselves. So we are repressing. It's very painful to know those, to believe those things about ourselves. And we believe it as children because the experiences are showing us that. Why are the experiences showing that? Because most of the adults also believe that about themselves too. And they and trauma creates more trauma. And so again, most adults aren't doing it maliciously. Some do, yes. Most do not. Most parents are not trying to harm their children. They are full of all of these fears. I say look back to 2020 and see how we can act in ways that are outside of logic and reason when you look at the true facts about 2020. When you look at the hard cold facts, it was hysteria that was created, and that hysteria was created which caused destruction and damage. That hysteria was created through plugging into people's emotions and subconscious beliefs that had already been planted throughout their childhood to make them feel unsafe, to make them feel that they didn't matter, they were not important, they had no value, and that they had no authority over their own selves and bodies, and that somebody else had authority over their body. Right, but that's another video as well. So as children, we believe this. Then, as adults, as we continue to suffocate our inner children, the parts of us that want to speak our truth, and because you've got lots of inner children at this point, we've got the parts that don't want to because they're absolutely in fear. And then you've got the parts that are like, let me be free, let me be my true self. So you've got this conflict inside, right? So, but what we're doing then as adults is as we continue to muffle our true self, as we continue to press it down, ignore it, repress it, then we are further ingraining the beliefs that we don't matter, that we're not important, that we're not lovable, and we have no value. And that is creating dis-ease in the mind. And that is creating dis-ease in the body. We are abandoning the true self. We are rejecting the true self. We are betraying the true self. And when we do that, we start to experience rejection, abandonment, betrayal, people in our lives that do not respect us or value us. Why is it? Because that is the energy we are sending out, and we attract people that feel the opposite, that feel that they can then treat you in that way because you allow it, right? We allow it. We allow it. I have been there in my 20s. I had a relationship with somebody and he didn't treat me in a good way. And I had to learn it was up to me to respect myself and love myself and take myself out of that environment, even though I felt all this love for this person. I had to turn that love, I had to start radically loving myself. So we can understand that so just by not coming out of the spiritual, so just by not coming out of the spiritual closet, by keeping it in, we are abandoning ourselves, we are rejecting ourselves, we are betraying ourselves. We're going to experience more of that in our environment because our environment is a mirror. It's a mirror of our inner world, and it's there to show us what we need to heal. So actually, what we need to start doing is radically loving ourselves. We've got to enact radical love. As we do that, we actually enact our divine genome. We start to reactivate the true soul self, because the radical love comes in and it starts to melt away all of the lies that we told ourselves about the selves. So, how do we break free? Well, we be like the eagle. So, we're going to go into that in a minute. We upgrade our belief systems and we start to alchemize our trauma. We are all alchemists. I'll link a video about that. And we ask for guidance. We are not alone. We are not alone. So, what does it mean to be the eagle spirit then? So when I was asking what spirit animal was coming through for this, it was the eagle. And I looked to the eagle, and the eagle brings courage. The eagle is courageous. It is full of strength and power. It's referred to in ancient times as the god of the skies. The ancients revered the eagle. The Native Americans revered and respected the eagle and the eagle feathers. It brings forward the qualities of honesty and trust. So what we have to do, we have to make a commitment to the self to hold up these values of courage, honesty, and truth, and ask ourselves in every single interaction that we go through in our day. Our whole day is a spiritual opportunity, is an opportunity to grow and expand. All of our experiences are actually there, orchestrated by our souls, in order for us to wake up, to dissolve old limiting beliefs that do not serve us, so we can start to step onto a higher path, onto a path where we can start learning through more wisdom, knowledge, and light. We don't have to suffer as much as we start to awaken to the higher path. So, courage. I know if you're watching this, you have had a journey with courage. Look back at your life. Think about, everybody has challenges in this life. Look back at your life. Think about the things you went through just as a child. Think about how much courage it took you as a child to get through those experiences. You have been through so much already. You already have the quality of courage. So it's time to put that right in front of you, and in every and make a vow to yourself, I'm going to use courage. So when you are faced with an opportunity, with a something that's happening with somebody, and you've got an opportunity to come out of the closet, just to be your, it doesn't have to be anything major. You don't have to say, hey guys, I'm coming out of the closet, I am a spiritual being having a, you don't have to say that, but you can just speak truth as it comes up naturally within a conversation about your spiritual beliefs, about your seeking. Just be, it asks us to be honest and true. If we are being honest and true, so ask ourselves to be honest and true in each situation, then it's going to lead us to be more vulnerable. We have to be vulnerable to be honest and true. You know, we think that it's so easy to be honest. I think it's so easy to be honest, but most people really struggle with honesty and truth. Because again, as children, we're programmed to lie. It is a program, and we grow up in an environment that is full of lies. Now, albeit many of those lies from parents and teachers are not done purposefully. It's just because they are programmed with these lies too. But there is a purposeful agenda in the mainstream, in our religions, in our medical systems, in the spiritual, there is an agenda to infiltrate with lies. So there is lots of lies out there. But as children, when we tell the truth, often we get into trouble for it, right? We get told off. Adults don't like the truth. It's uncomfortable. The truth can be uncomfortable to face because it means we've got to change something, and we are programmed not to like change. So the truth, whilst it is beautiful, it's also a destructor, and it destructs things. So it can create fears. So it's actually a spiritual practice. It's actually a growth practice when we start to say to ourselves, right, I'm going to bring courage, honesty, and truth into my life, and I'm going to observe my interactions with people. So we observe our interactions with people, and we see where we are able to be honest, and we observe where we're not able to be honest. And when we can't be honest about our true selves, then that's okay. We don't judge ourselves. We just, let's be curious about it. Hmm, why can't I be honest? This has led to so much change for me because I observe my interactions, and where I've not been able to be honest about something inside of me, I've observed it, and I've seen there's a part of me that's in fear that someone's going to judge me, ridicule me. And I realize I've got another part where I need to radically love a bit more, more radical love, more divine connection, more truth needs to come into the body to clear that out. So, like, so observe your life, see in your life where you are honest, where you are not honest, and then just start using courage to be honest, and start using courage to be honest with the people in your life that you feel safe with. That's the best place to start. Start with your friends that you feel safe with. Start with your colleagues that you feel safe with, and you can build up some confidence. You can build up a bit more courage, because what you're going to see when I started, so I said to you before, I used to only talk to my closest friends, and that wasn't instantly. That was as I started to get more confident. Well, not even that really. I only talked to, like, really, to be honest, it was just one of my best friends at the time, Claire. She would be the only person I'd really talk about some of this stuff for, because I knew she wouldn't judge me, even if she didn't understand it. She wouldn't judge me about it. She was open-minded, and she was on her own in a journey as well. However, in my 30s, as I started to heal more on this reconnection journey that I've been on, I started to talk about it at work with colleagues. And what I found was most of them were really interested in it. In fact, most of them were curious about it because we're all souls. And if someone doesn't believe that, it's just because they are cut off from themselves, they are programmed, it's not because they're bad or wrong. So you're going to find that if you start to just have courage to speak about it with the people you trust at first, then you can start to have courage to just stand in your truth, even when you're around people that you don't necessarily feel safe with, because just because it is your truth and you are standing in it and you are being honest about it, um, so this leads to vulnerability then. So, and vulnerability is our strength, right? So again, vulnerability, everything in this world has been inverted. Vulnerability has been seen as a weakness. You know, we say that people are disabled, so they are vulnerable. We use it as a term to say that someone is weak, but actually our vulnerabilities are our strength, because our vulnerabilities are as actually using courage, which is not without fear. Courage does not have fear. It has fear, but we use courage. We do it anyway because we know inside of ourselves we are aligning with an inner voice, a guide, our soul. And as we align with that soul and we be vulnerable and we allow ourselves to show parts of ourselves that we have hidden since children, that actually takes a massive amount of strength. A lot of people do not have the strength to show those deep parts that have been hurt and wounded to another because they're worried it's going to get hurt and wounded again. So it actually takes strength to be vulnerable. And it is a journey we go on. Again, during I realized through my life, I shut down much of my emotions, shut down my vulnerabilities, used humor to hide from my vulnerabilities. And I had to really face that during my 30s and it was a journey that I went on with vulnerability. So I went on a deeper journey with vulnerability as I went on a deeper journey with courage. They go hand in hand with each other. And also it leads to integrity. And I went on a deeper journey with integrity. I held myself to high standards. I asked myself in every moment, am I being in integrity? Just to give you an example, like I was recently working a couple of days for a contracting firm, and if I needed a day off, I would not phone in sick. That's what I might have done, although I didn't do it often in reality, but that's what I might have done back in the days where I didn't just speak my truth, but now I dare speak my truth. And I realize I do matter. I am important. And if I need to have a day off, no, a job doesn't own me. They don't own me. Then I can do that. I don't need to give all these excuses and reasons why I am doing something for myself. Right. So again, look at your life. Look at where you're people pleasing, right? Look in your life and see where you give excuses to why you can't go to that event. Oh, I'm doing this. I don't do that anymore. I don't give up excuses. I just say why I don't want to do something, or I just say no. And this builds up our integrity. So courage, honesty, and truth lead to vulnerability, which is our strength. So we start to feel stronger. Every time we use courage, we feel more strength. Um, every time we are honest, we build integrity. And integrity really is your protection from attack, to be honest. Because if we are stood in our integrity, then it doesn't really matter what someone else thinks or believes, because it is our alignment. And no one else can tell us what is our alignment. As long as our alignment, right, isn't violating another, then that is our divine right to stand in our own alignment and truth. So we build that, which builds authenticity. In order to when we start to be our true selves, when we start to have courage to express all those things we've hidden, we've through fear, and we start to work through that, then we start to become authentic. When we become authentic, we're going to heal very, very rapidly, because we are no longer having energy drained from us holding up a lie, holding up a false self. A mask is exhausting. It's why a lot of people are poorly and ill. It is exhausting. It creates stress, disease, illness. And when we start to align with our true self, well, we're starting to do things that actually regenerate our bodies, regenerate our energy systems. We start to literally become the light. So it leads to authenticity, which is going to lead you to building a life that you love and want to live in as well. Rather, when we live in an inauthentic life, we're going to have friends in our reality, we're going to have jobs in our realities, we're going to have things that are in our reality that are inauthentic because we have created that. We have to understand it's through our choices. Just often our choices are through wounds and trauma. We're making choices through wounds and trauma rather than through healed, true wholeness. So as we start that journey and we start to become more authentic, then, yeah, your life is going to change. I went from being a senior qualified finance manager. I am now a hypnosoul therapist and transformational soul coach, completely different. And now I'm living a life of meaning, a life of purpose, a life that I want to every day I get up and I'm excited to be in. So we start to create strength and power. We start to become sovereign. We start to realize we are these sovereign beings and we are powerful. We've been programmed to believe we are less than small and don't matter, but we do matter and we are powerful and we are an important piece of the cosmic body. Think of your body as your body's got all these cells in it, all these trillions of cells, and they're all communicating with each other. Your whole body is a cell of the cosmos, and it's in constant communication with Source. Source can see and knows everything about you, and it wants you to have an abundant life, and it knows that life is available to you as you choose to work with these energies, as you choose to realize that we go through initiations on our human path. We're always being asked to find what is authentic, and to do that we heal, right? We heal all that is not us and we find the truth of who we are, and that helps us to start to dissolve generational trauma, because we are no longer passing on that trauma unconsciously, and we do pass it on. If we carry it, we do pass it on. So when we heal it in ourselves, it heals our past, it heals our future, but it also starts to heal everyone that is connected to our ancestral line as well. So we need to know that all spiritual initiations require some courage and honesty. Um, so we want to upgrade and we want to work our magic, because we are magical beings. The whole world is magical. Again, it is a program. It is a program through TV that shows magic as being illusions, and the TV magic programs are illusions. They are TV lies, tricks, illusions, however you want to look at it. But again, it creates a program that magic is not real, but magic is real, and magic is used upon this earth for good and for bad, right? There is light magic and there is dark magic, and dark magic is used throughout our TV to mind control people with subconscious spells that make us believe that we are not souls, we are severed from source, that we are not these creative beings that create realities, but we create our own reality. And we are these magnificent beings. Again, as we go on this journey of coming out of the closet, we'll be on that journey to rediscover the true self. And we're going to start discovering the true self more and more. And as we do that and we heal all that is not us, we bring in more source light. As we bring in more source light, we move into soul alignment. As we move into soul alignment, we know these are truths, higher truths. Truth transcends religion and mainstream science, by the way. So we want to upgrade and work our magic, because you are a magical being. First of all, we need to observe, right? We need to bring awareness to our beliefs. If we don't know what beliefs are holding us back, then we can't change them, right? We've got to first be able to acknowledge them within ourselves. And we do that by observing our interactions with people, observing where we're not honest, observing where we hold back our truth, and just observing, why is that? What do I fear? I fear I'm going to be humiliated. I fear I'm not good enough. I fear I don't matter. And then we have to tell ourselves that is not the truth. You do matter. You are important. And then you have to show yourself the truth of that by using courage. And the more you use it, it stretches, right? Like I said, I've been on such a journey with courage. And I look back on my life and I realize how many times it has been courage that has got me through a spiritual initiation and has led to a massive expansion and growth. Go back to 2020. Back in 2020, at the beginning of 2020, I'd already been on this journey for quite a long time. I was deprogramming so much of the false beliefs about myself. I'd retrained as a hypnotherapist. I was always in observation of myself, always knew naturally that I needed to change something inside to change the outer. And I was being activated massively at the beginning of 2020. And I knew what was happening onto the world was not based in truth. It was based in fear. We can know that fear does repress the immune system. It actually creates illness when we are in fear for a long period of time, right? I don't need to fear fear. We don't need to fear fear, right? But if we are kept heightened in fear as people were during 2020, 21, 22, then it's going to create a lot of issues in the psyche, in the body, and actually create the thing that it says it was trying to avoid, right? Anyway, I was being activated during then. I did not believe in the masks at all. Even if you looked at the science, it was not backed up at all by science. They actually rewrote things in order to put that through, and it was there to keep the sign of fear on the faces of humanity, to keep people in fear. It created a lot of psychological problems, a lot of health problems, and I refused to wear one, right? I refused to wear one because I wanted to stand in my integrity. I was going through a spiritual initiation, and I knew it was important for me to stand in my truth and stand in my integrity. Now, the first time that I went to the supermarket and literally everybody was doing it, I felt fear. My heart was absolutely beating out of my chest. I felt so much fear. I was so afraid that someone was going to confront me with that line that they were programming into people to tell people that you were killing your parents. It wasn't truth. That little kids could kill their grandparents. So imagine what that does to the psyche, right? It was absolutely psychological warfare. But I'm not going to go into all that. Anyway, and it doesn't matter which way you fell on in this, right? Because, let's just be frank about this period of time. It was psychological warfare. They were using mind control techniques, hypnosis. I know how hypnosis works. Everyone was under hypnosis. You can hypnotize people like that if you say something and create a strong emotion. And they were doing that through the TV, through the images. They were doing it on tannoys all over the place. And this was plugging into fears that were being laid down since we were being born, right? So, this isn't anyone that did do it. This is not to say you were bad or you were wrong. Absolutely not. Everybody was under attack during this period. I just use it as an example to show that for me, I was aware. I was being given the information. I just knew. And then when I looked at the science, that backed it up as well. However, honestly, I didn't need the science to know that it wasn't healthy to do that over your mouth. I had to use so much courage. When I went into that supermarket, I felt like everyone was looking at me. My heart was beating out of my chest. However, the second time I did it, I didn't feel quite as scared. I was still a bit scared. The third time I did it, I was absolutely fine. Now I was feeling strong. Now I felt empowered because I'd used courage, and that had then took me on a journey. I had to use strength along with courage and strength. And then because I stood in integrity, I started to feel empowered, good, strong about myself. So it created so much growth and expansion just through that one act. So know that as you're going through coming out of the closet, you are creating ripples of transformation that you're not even going to realize right now. It's as you move on that journey that you're going to look back and you're going to be like, wow, that created so much growth, expansion, put you onto a path that's going to bring you so much joy, fulfillment, and meaning, even if there is parts along that path that are difficult and hard. This is how we go through initiations. It can be difficult and hard because we're having to face beliefs that we've built our lives around. And as they start to crumble, it can feel painful, destabilizing, and there's a lot of stuff we've got to face about the self, and it can be difficult. And that's where we've got to use radical love. We've got to really love ourselves. This is where we've got to really do a lot of inner child and shadow work healing. We've really got to face these parts of ourselves, and we face them through the lens of the higher perspective, or at least that's how I journey with my clients. We face them through the lens of the higher perspective, through light. What is light? Encoded within light is truth, wisdom, and knowledge. And those three components, that triad, that three represents it's light, and it's going to absolutely dissolve the lies and the fear in the body and allow more light to come in. Now, I'm actually going to release, and I will link to this video. I've been on this journey, completely revolutionized my life. I've been on a deep healing journey, realized I am a healer, and I'm meant to do this. That is why I'm here. And I did a Reconnect program, which was a 7-week program, and I did my first live one with a group live back in October last year, and I've just done another one, and it has changed, but I'm going to release, and you can get access to the first week of that free in the description. But I'm gonna give you the inner child work that I did in the first Reconnect. So whilst I have changed that in the second one, it's still really powerful. The meditation is amazing, very healing, and even though it's part of a series, you can still do it isolated on its own. It's a really powerful. Starts with an energy transmission, where we really talk about the inner child. So you'll have to just excuse the fact that obviously, it was part of a series, so I may refer to the first week in it, but you can still do it standalone. Talks about the inner child, the journey of the inner child, the wounds, and how we start to heal that. And then there's a meditation to actually go into meditative state. When we're in a hypnotic meditative state, we are in a super learning state. We are going into the quantum field, and we can start to change the fabric of what's been laid down within us. We can start to shift these beliefs, because our beliefs, even though you can't see them, they are more real than this cup, right? They have they drive your life, how you show up for yourself, how you interact, everything. And you're going to see this through your observation of coming out of the spiritual closet, as you start to see, whoa, why wasn't I honest about that? Why was I afraid of? You realize things that we lie about, and we call them these white lies, but they're not white lies. I'm not saying that you're bad or wrong for doing it, so please don't judge yourself for it. We do it because of the programming. That program is so deep. And it happened to us in a period of our lives when our brains were like these hypnotic receivers, just soaking everything in. So it's not our fault that we have these parts of us. However, as adults, it's our responsibility to start seeing them and healing them. So I'm going to give you that free. So that'll help you. That'll start you on your journey of your inner child work and shadow work. We can start to upgrade our beliefs as we start to observe them. So one belief that kept me stuck for a long time, even while I was on this journey. So I retrained in hypnotherapy, but really, I realized I got all my strength from connecting to source. All my strength came from my beliefs of the soul. But I hadn't fully integrated my soul at that point. So I still had all these doubts in my energetic field. And one of those looping doubts, beliefs that went around my mind is, well, I can't prove it. I can't prove it, so it's not real. I can't prove it. I can't prove it, so I can't speak about it. That really held me back from jumping in and aligning with my true soul self and doing the work that I came here to do, which is to be a spiritual teacher, is to reconnect people back to their souls and to their authenticity. So I became aware of this looping thought. It was like a hand on my chest, stopping me from taking that leap, stopping me from being seen for who I am, for the true self. I started to change that. I started to upgrade it. I started to say to myself, hold on a minute. I don't need to prove this to anybody. The journey of connecting to the soul, connecting to source, there is an individual journey. It is an intimate journey that you go on with yourself. And as you choose to go on that journey, which I can open the door to, lead you into, give you tools, simple tools, fun, engaging ways to do it. But you have to take the steps. And as you take the steps, you are going to have your own personal experiences with source, with the universe. You're going to realize the universe is communicating to you. The plants are, the animals are, your soul is, your guides are communicating to you. So I started to realize I don't need to prove it to anybody. I'm on this journey. I'm discovering And you can also, we can be vulnerable, right? And we start to realize on this journey, there is so much that we do not know about the universe, about our souls, about our interconnected nature. We are all connected. There is so much we don't know, and it's ever unfolding on this path because we can't get all the information at once because it's too much for the body to integrate. As we heal, we integrate more information. As we integrate more information, we heal. It's a simultaneous thing that takes place. It's amazing. So I started to realize that I don't have to have all the answers. Neither, if someone asks me something and I don't know, I can just say, "Well, I don't know the answer to that." It's an ever unfolding journey. I'm still discovering things, or perhaps I know things. Sometimes I start to become aware of new information, but it's not quite clicked with me. I've not quite put all the pieces of the puzzle together because we're given pieces of the puzzle on our journey. And again, as we start to go on this journey of coming out of the closet, whether that's coming out of the closet spiritually or something else that you are holding back from yourself, from being honest about, as soon as we start to come out of the closet with the true self, we go on a deep healing, self-discovering journey, and we get more and more of the pieces, but we look back and we see how all the pieces were leading us to this point, and it's all perfection. So we can be vulnerable and just say, well, that helps us. It helps us because we're programmed to believe we have to know everything. We can't know everything. Just because we're programmed to think that school, we finish school at 16, 18, whatever, then we know everything. We don't know everything. And school is giving us a lot of false stuff. You'll discover that on your spiritual journey. So we don't know everything. There's so much to unknow. There's so much unknown, and we can be vulnerable and open up to that. And that takes pressure off us as well, and allows us to be in this place of discovery, to be the cosmic children that we truly are. Ask our guides, they are waiting. You are surrounded by a spirit team. First of all, your soul. I'm obsessed with the soul. We're going to so much about the soul when you do the Reconnect journey with me. The soul is our best friend, and the soul is guiding us, right? It has a blueprint for our lives, and it's going to initiate us with certain experiences so that we wake up, so that we actually look inside and start to take off the skins, the beliefs that are restricting us from moving on to our destined path. So the soul is a guide, but you've also got other guides, right? You've got ancestors from your ancestral line. You've got angels, you've got ascended masters, people that we hear about in spiritual texts like Jesus, Mary Magdalene, Isis, lots of the Egyptian gods, Isis, Thoth. There's so many that have been, you'll start to, if the ascended masters want to work with you, they'll make themselves known, and you'll go on your own journey with them. But you can just start with your soul. You don't need to know who they are. Just know you've got guidance around you. The universe, you can, if you feel, if you don't like the word God, there's a lot of distortion around the word God, but God real is the true God, is the source of everything, is the mother and the father. Mother, father, God, the universe is a representation, an expression of source, as are you and me. So we can even think of it as the universe. We can start to ask the universe to guide us, but then we've got to listen. So we ask, you shall receive, but you must listen, and you may receive an answer instantly. You may receive it in a few days. You may receive it from somebody else giving you the message. There might be stuff in here where you've received a message from me, from something you've been asking about already. And that's how our guides work. They work together. We are working as one organism as we start to wake up and move on to the ascension journey. So we have to listen, though. Meditation, we're going to meditation. Obviously, that's my main tool. Hypnotic guided meditations, you'll be getting one of them with the inner child. That's more of a connected and healing. You've got to listen, be in nature. When you're in nature, nature is everything, guys. When you're in nature, you're going to see yourself reflected back. You're going to get aha moments, insights. You're going to get healing. You're going to get revelations. You're going to get guidance, but you've got to spend time in nature for that. Movement, dance, rest, follow the light, Follow what feels good. And this can be difficult for us because we've got so many programs in our mind creating fears. We'll do some more videos on that. But we've got to know that we've got to learn to listen to the heart. And the more we heal, the more we listen to the heart. And when we heal our inner child, the more we can listen to the heart and ask us, is that really what the heart wants? Or is someone telling me I can't do it? I'm too old to do it. It's too late now. Many people would have said to me, I had a good career. I had, what people would class as being successful life and career. And whilst my parents have totally supported me and I love them for that, I know they were a bit in fear. They were like, oh, are you sure about that? Why would you give up a good job? But I knew that my heart, even though I had some fears myself, I knew that my heart was saying, this is for us. This is a journey we are going to go on. And it hasn't been easy. There's been a lot of challenges in it, but boy, am I glad I said yes to my heart, because it's absolutely created so much growth, expansion that I would never have had without. In fact, I know right now I would have been probably depressed if I hadn't have said yes to my heart. So follow the light. It is your guide. It is the key, the clue, sacred prayer. So I'm really just starting my own journey with sacred prayer, which I really started at the beginning of January. Whilst my meditations are laced with sacred prayers anyway, and intention, I've now started doing it as a separate exercise or practice, not exercise. So I have created a little sacred prayer that you can use to assist you to move on to this path of coming out of the spiritual closet. So I would ask you right now to just take a deep breath in, breathe out. I want you to close your eyes while I say the prayer. I'm going to say the prayer and I want you to keep your eyes closed and just listen to the words, listen to the intention, allow it to be felt by the heart. Open up the heart, listen with the heart. So, my prayer is to connect more intimately with my true self and with my spirit team and guides and helpers that are assigned to me in this lifetime for my highest good and destined timeline of heaven on earth. I ask my higher self to go out ahead of me and prepare my day with the grace of the divine. And I give thanks for all the many blessings, healings, and insights I have received through our divine union. I ask that you guide me to heal the wounds that are blocking me from being my true, authentic self. I ask that I heal and integrate through the loving embrace and grace of our Mother, Father, God. Okay, you can open your eyes. So I just want you to do that so you could feel the words. And I just want to tell you a little bit about this prayer. I've literally just done it now as I asked for a sacred prayer that I could share with you guys that was simple but powerful, because I know myself on this journey, sometimes when we're not used to really speaking to our guides, which I think actually I did miss off saying here, you really need to create a conversation with your spirit guides and ask them for guidance, invite them into your life, talk to them like they are your best friend, because they absolutely are. And it can feel a bit strange when we first started to do this because we're not taught to do this. I realize now I'm walking down the street, I am just talking to myself. And sometimes I just like see people looking at me. And I think they must think, she is crazy. And you know what? I don't really care anymore. If this is what crazy is, well, boy, I'm in, because my life is so much more fun now and it's magical now. So anyway, I thought I'd do this because I know it can be difficult sometimes to formulate the words when we're not used to it. So this is a really simple prayer. What am I saying? My prayer is to connect me more intimately with my true self. We're asking Mother, Father, God, or if you don't feel comfortable that, you can change that for in your mind, the universe or source. We're asking the universe, we're asking source to connect us more intimately with our true selves. We're asking our soul, we're saying to our soul, I desire, I'm ready, I am ready to do this work. I desire to work with you, to be who I truly am. And I'm asking, and I'm letting my spirit team know I'm paying attention now. Now I am paying attention. I'm going to listen. I'm going to feel, I'm going to follow my guidance, even if it takes courage. I'm going to do it anyway. Um, but we're asking for those that are assigned for us in this lifetime. I'm putting in something really important here. I'm saying for my highest good, because we may have ancestors in our line that are not going to guide us for our highest good. So we want to make that clear. We only want to work with those that are assigned to us for our highest good. So that's why I put that. And destined timeline, those that are there to help us to realize the timeline of heaven on earth. Heaven on earth, if you haven't heard about it, is the timeline that we are anchoring in on the earth right now. Many of us are consciously focused on pulling in this timeline. We do it first by bringing it into our own lives. We have to create it in our own lives. When we create in our own lives, it starts to ripple and create it in the whole collective and the world. So this timeline is a timeline that this is the ascension timeline. We all have a destiny on this ascension timeline. Well, at least, well, maybe I can't say all. Most people, if you're watching this, yes, you are. So we're saying that we want to work with those guides, that their intention is to guide us to this highest timeline. The heaven on earth timeline is a life of meaning. It's a life of purpose. It's a life of fulfillment. It's a life of joy and bliss. And it's a life of abundance in all areas of your life. I ask my higher self to go out ahead of me and prepare my day with the grace of the divine. Ooh, love that. We're saying, we're recognizing that there is a force that has more sight than we have. It has the higher perspective. Like I said, the soul is not just in one body. It's not limited by time like we are. It knows the path ahead. It knows the probable future that we are going to pull in doing what we're doing right now. And it can guide us. Not only can it guide us, it wants to guide us. The higher self, the soul, wants to participate in our lives as much as we want it in our lives. It wants to do it too. It created the body. It meticulously created the body so that it could experience a human life. And until we really wake up, whilst it is orchestrating events for us, until we actually wake up, we can't really start to fully work with its power and its grace and its guidance. So we send it out ahead of us because it can and is out ahead of us. It can lay the path before us, and we're basically asking it to lead us on the most direct path of our highest timeline and embodiment. Now, we should know that when we ask for this, thou shalt receive. That does mean we may face some challenges on this path, right? Because those challenges are there to help us to see what we need to shift out of our system, but we don't have to struggle through it. The higher self is going to lead you on a path where you start to create a relationship with it that you feel held, you feel supported, you can navigate it with so much more grace. And we're asking it to do it with grace, in the most effortless way possible. Let's grow and expand as much as we can through wisdom, knowledge, and integrating that rather than through darkness by ignoring, denying, and not integrating the truth. So we're asking for that. We're asking it to go ahead and lay the path ahead of us, which I just think is beautiful. Hold on. So I ask myself to go ahead of me, prepare my day with the grace of the divine. And I give thanks for all the many blessings, healings, and insights I receive through our divine union. We're recognizing, we're acknowledging, we're being grateful for this co-creation, this interaction. We're recognizing that we've already been being guided. We've already received so much healing, so much insights, so much expansion, so much growth. And now that we're actually acknowledging that in the past, but we're also acknowledging all of the blessings and insights that we're now opening, we're now giving permission to receive and allow to flow into our lives, realizing that we don't have to try and control everything. I ask that you guide me to heal the wounds that are blocking me from being my true, authentic self. So we're asking it to show us those wounds. Let me see, what are those beliefs? And then when I know what that belief is, I can start to question the validity of that belief. Is it true? Is it really the truth? No, it's not. Anything that's stopping you from being your true self is not the truth. Anything that's based in fear, shame, guilt, not enoughness. It's not the truth of who you are. It's the absolute opposite of who you are. I ask that you guide me to heal my wounds that are blocking me from being my true, authentic self. I ask that I heal and integrate through the loving embrace and grace of our Mother, Father, God. Again, if you're not comfortable with Mother, Father, God, I'd say, learn to get comfortable with it. Start, ask to heal those wounds as well. Or use source, use the universe, use what aligns with you. But I ask that I heal and integrate through the love and embrace. We need to integrate those lessons. If we don't integrate, if it's just knowledge, if we just know it, but we don't integrate into the body, we don't heal, then nothing really changes. So we're asking for the grace of God to help us, assist us, guide us, to really move that into the body. Okay, so yeah, so that is it, guys. So I think that was probably quite a lot. There's activations within these energy transmissions that I give as well. But in order to really integrate this, you might want to listen to it again, but you just need to take those steps. Know that every day is giving the opportunity to do it. Start working with your guys. Watch my inner child, start that inner child healing. You might want to check out my Reconnect program. But if not, when you're saying this sacred prayer, you're going to be led to the people, to the books, to other things that can help guide you through your own inner journey of self-discovery and reuniting back with a true soul self.